Sangwanani Mwalelepo Vukenjani Breakfast Vanabe Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Betty and Glenora Shipura. How are you, Glenn? I'm
doing very well. It's finally Friday.
Finally Friday, the 12th of April.
The 12th of April. I know you like to braai over the weekends,
yes.
And you have like this.
Sometimes during the week.
During the week, wow. Please invite me to your home one day.
I'll think about it.
You'll think about it.
The weekly braais are personal, but on the weekend, sure.
On the weekends, please. So he looks like he braais very good. I've seen the status, but I hope it tastes as good as it looks.
It is fantastic. You just asked my wife.
Well, taking a look at what you can expect in today's broadcast, Moderna puts Kenya plant plans on hold, and a dispute in Renamo, Venâncio Mondlane returns to court. Togolese resist reforms ahead of election. And we'll also be talking to Mike Sichula, who will be filling us in on the latest news in Zambia. We'll be right back with our top stories.
Getting into our top stories, U.S. pharmaceutical and biotechnology firm Moderna has suspended efforts to build mRNA manufacturing facilities in Kenya, the firm said in a statement earlier. The company said that the demand in Africa for COVID-19 vaccines has declined since the pandemic and is insufficient to support the viability of a factory plant in Kenya. According to the statement, Moderna has not received any vaccine orders for the continent since 2022 and has faced the cancellation of previous orders, resulting in more than $1 billion in losses and write-downs. Moderna believes the pause will allow the company to better align its infrastructure investments with the evolving healthcare needs and vaccine demand in Africa.
Swinging over to Mozambique, Venâncio Mondlane says he submitted 2 new interim injunctions against the leadership of Renamo. He accuses party leader Osofo Momade of violating their agreement, but assures that he remains firmly committed to the party. Mondlane's legal advisor says that the circulating information on social media about an alleged intention of the Renamo deputy to run for the presidency within a coalition between the Democratic Movement of Mozambique and extra-parliamentary parties is false. Elvino Diaz guarantees in statements to DW that his advisor remains a member of Mozambican National Resistance and is already preparing for the Congress in May. The information circulating on social media is nothing more than a mere rumor. Venâncio has not had any conversations with any party. He is a member of Renamo and all his efforts are within Renamo, he stated. The same text circulating on social media mentions a political profile of the Renamo presidential candidate that would have been approved by the party at a meeting in Maputo this past Monday.
Now, tensions are rising in Togo over major constitutional reforms ahead of delayed parliamentary elections. The constitutional reboot was approved by lawmakers last month, but submitted for consultations as public anger over its stealthy passage through parliament mounted with police breaking up an opposition news conference and cracking down on protests. The reforms would see Togo move from a presidential to a parliamentary system, essentially ushering in the country's 5th republic. But opposition activists believe it's all a ruse designed to keep long-standing President Faure Gnassingbé in power, albeit they say with a new job title preserving a dynastic system stretching back nearly 6 decades.
In our next story, women legislators have demanded that Parliament set up a salon for their regular needs. The new clamor, communicated by State Minister for Water and Environment Beatrice Anwar, says having a beauty parlor in Parliament would boost their participation in parliamentary activities In a morning session chaired by Speaker Anita Among, Minister Anwar, an ex-officio, thanked Parliament for setting up a gym, but was quick to add that few ladies feel comfortable getting involved in it. She said gyms are associated with vigorous exercise routines that disorganize the hair. One of them is myself, my hair and nails and whatever are part of the woman. Anwar said, "What I'm saying is that we ladies can come early and spend more time in the salon and then the house." Anwar once gained a fond moniker of Mama Mbabira for her fight to save Uganda's once largest natural rainforest that covers an area of 306 square kilometers in Buikwe district between Lugasi and Jinja. At the time, the government was giving away swaths of rainforest to sugarcane millers, but now Anwar appears to have launched another war, that of setting in Parliament a tidy place where hairdressers and beauticians can attend to the looks of legislators. The demand will not shock many. Parliament has made big headlines over the last 2 years for one bizarre demand after another, including once clamoring for a flyover to be erected connecting Bowman House to Parliament. Bowman House on Parliament Avenue is an office for several MPs, and they argued at the time that they needed to be safe when crossing the venue to Parliament building.
Priorities. Now, in the rolling grasslands of the Amboseli Wildlife Park, conservationists fret about an emerging threat to Kenyan elephants that are crucial to its tourism business. Licensed hunters across the border in Tanzania. The two neighbors manage elephant herds differently. Tanzania issues some trophy hunting licenses to wealthy sport hunters every year, while Kenya gets all its revenue from wildlife safaris. Tanzania's way of supervising elephant herds is aligned with many Southern African nations like Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa, while Kenya's zero tolerance of wildlife hunting or sale of ivory mirrors that of Gabon.
Getting into our next story, O.J. Simpson, a former United States footballer star acquitted of murder in a widely watched trial in the 1990s, has died at age 76. In a statement shared on social media on Thursday morning, Simpson's family said he died on Wednesday after a battle with cancer. He was surrounded by his children and grandchildren. During this time of transition, his family asked that you please respect their wishes for privacy and grace, the statement said.
All right, we're going to take a short break before we return with Mike Sichula.
Hello, Namapia. Ons is by die kus en ons is lus.
By the Easter shark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, please, today you make sure that we are fed. Sorry, ekasi.
Now, 1 billion kwacha support has been provided to Investrust Bank, which has repossessed due to insolvency. Here is Mike Sichula with that story and more from Zambia. Mike Budiwanje, please get straight into your first story.
Africa, good morning. So after the collapse of this bank, Zambia has no locally owned bank out of about 19 commercial banks. So Investrust was founded by a Zambian who is now deceased. Then it was taken over by other stakeholders. So the man in the picture is the Bank of Zambia governor who released this statement yesterday. The 1 billion support is meant to pay across over 500 depositors. So according to Mr. Dan Kariaria, the payment said the first payment to deposit at Investrust possession will be made on April 26. The first payment will represent 90% of all depositors from about 57,000 deposits accounts. So the maximum payment to be paid on each account in the first round will be about 500 kwacha. So before the repossession of the bank, ZCCM, which is a Zambian company, held 71.4% shares in the bank, while Banco de Neves International held 24% shareholding and others held 4.5 shareholder holding. So this is something that the Bank of Zambia has quickly moved in to ensure that depositors get their money so that the bank can be restructured or given to other equity partners. So this is the latest case where depositors are now being given assurance that they'll get their money in the quickest possible time. In previous times, like Meridian BIL Bank that collapsed, depositors never got their money back. So the Bank of Zambia has moved in quickly to protect the financial sector.
Now, getting into your next story, over 80 people, 22 Chinese and a Cameroonian, have been apprehended by the authorities in connection with one of the biggest cyber crimes. Can you expand on this?
Yeah, so also arrested are 60 Zambians at a premises disguised as an internet cafe where law enforcement agencies discovered 93 desktop computers, satellite gadgets, and other ICT-related equipment have also been seized, as well as 2 firearms. So 78 rounds of ammunition and 2 motor vehicles were also seized. They also found SIM boxing machines, 13,000 domestic and international SIM cards. That was some as far as Vodacom of South Africa that were suspected to be used in fraudulent activities, and sophisticated mobile and internet connections were seized by authorities. So most of the Zambians have been released, but they have also been charged, and they were employed to work as a mobile telephone agent, co-agents. But according to authorities, this was not an ordinary co-agent. It was a sophisticated cyber fraud, which not only was doing its business in Zambia, but it also covered other countries of the world, such as the United Arab Emirates, Thailand, and many other countries in the world. So authorities are still investigating this case. It is one of the biggest in terms of cyber-related criminal bust that authorities have managed to hold on and bring the culprits to book.
Speaking of bringing culprits to book, what is the update on Mondlane, who was arrested for claiming that he had power to resurrect the dead?
So this man has been put on his defense, meaning he has been found with a case to answer by the Chipata Magistrates Court by obtaining money by false pretenses. The matter has been set for 19th April 2024 for defense, where the accused has promised to defend him and he will not call any witnesses. So in this matter, Emmanuel Banda, 34, is allegedly to have obtained 900 kwacha, which is approximately $37 from the family of the late Drain Nyirenda, who died while performing a traditional dance on December 24th in Kasenengwa district, eastern Zambia. So this case will now have the traditional healer now has to prove himself whether he had those powers that he claimed he had, that he could resurrect a dead person.
That sounds very interesting. I'd like to see how that case progresses. Now, getting into your next story, the Copper Queens captain Barbara Banda has been promoted to the rank of staff sergeant, and this is following their qualification to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games.
Yeah, so Copper Queen Barbara Banda is Zambia defense personnel. So she's among 6 other Copper Queens players that have been promoted in the Zambia Army. So this follows their resilient and leadership role exhibited in Morocco when Zambia won 2-2 and Barbara Banda scored twice to send the Copper Queens to the women's football tournament to be held in Paris. And also the goalkeeper of that day, Ngambo Musole, was also made 4 crucial saves that ensured that Zambia did not concede. Because Zambia going into this match, they were trailing by 2-1. So meaning Zambia needed to score 2 unanswered goals for them to stand a chance to qualify back-to-back to the Olympics. So, and that they managed to do that. And following this superb performances, the Zambia Army has promoted Barbara Banda and 5 other players who are part of the Copper Queens to ranks that are higher than what they previously had before going into this match. So it is something that a number of soccer fans have also praised the Copper Queens for qualifying to the Olympics, because a lot of people did not expect Zambia to win in Morocco, having lost 2-1 in Dollars Levy Mwanawasa Stadium.
Well, you know, Mike, Zambian women always find a way. I would know. Thank you for bringing us the stories.
Thank you very much. Do have a lovely weekend. Thank you. Africa, good morning.
All right, let's take a look at our weather predictions before we return with economic news.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Economic news stories. The UK decided to loan Ghana its stolen artifacts. Tuesday saw the repatriation of 32 royal items that had been taken from the Ashanti Empire in West Africa during the 19th century by the Victoria and Albert Museum and the British Museum. However, this repatriation is based on a loan deal. The kingdom, which is what is now modern-day Ghana, fought in the Anglo-Asante Wars, during which the royal objects were taken from the palace in Kumasi. A report by the British News Network, the BBC, revealed that the United Kingdom has returned 32 royal artifacts that were taken in the 19th century from the Asante Kingdom of Ghana. 15 of these items were returned by the British Museum, while the remaining 17 were returned by the Victoria and Albert Museum. However, these artifacts were delivered on a loan deal, renewable in the next 3 years.
Very interesting. Getting into the next story, Nigeria's drug regulator has recalled a batch of Johnson & Johnson children's cough syrup after tests showed it contained an unacceptable high level of toxic and potentially fatal substance. The substance, diethylene glycol, was found to cause acute oral toxicity in laboratory animals. Nigeria's National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control said on Wednesday. It added that human consumption of diethylene glycol results in toxic effects, including abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, inability to pass urine, headache, altered mental state, and acute kidney injury, which may lead to death. The substance has been linked to the recent deaths of dozens of children in Cameroon and the Gambia. Laboratory tests on the recalled benylene pediatric syrup also show that it caused acute oral toxicity in animals. Now, the regulator added neither Johnson & Johnson nor Kenbue, which owns the benylene brand after becoming independent from Johnson & Johnson last year, have commented on NAFDAC's statement.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of the economic news stories. Let's head over to the indicators just before Ari brings us the sport.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with tennis news first. It's the Monte Carlo Masters that continues, still week one, a round of 32 games played in Monte Carlo, and it's a clay season that started leading up to the Roland Garros that will start in May. And news from the tournament, it's a thousands tournament, so all the top players in the world play. It is number 2 in the world, Yannick Sinner. He had a comfortable win against Sebastian Korda of United States, and the score there was 6-1 and 6-2. He reaffirmed that he's one of the favorites in the tournament. And also news from the number 6 seed, Andrei Rublev of Russia. He's out of the tournament, the first top 10 seed player to be out. He lost to Alexei Popyrin. He's also from Russia. The score there 6-4 and 6-4. Number 10 seed, Herbert Hukratz, he safely through. He beat a clay court specialist in Roberto Agu, and he beat him 7-5, 7-6, a tough two-setter for him. And also in the last 16 winning rounds in the round 32 is Stefanos Tsitsipas, he's number 12 seed, and also the number 7 seed, Holger Rune, he's also through, and then number 8 seed, Casper Ruud, also safely through to the round of 16. Continuing international sports news with soccer news, football news, it's a Champions League that continued its quarterfinals that's being played, and a very good game for Barcelona. They had a away game in Paris against Paris Saint-Germain, and it was a 3-2 win for Barcelona in the away game, and it was a good performance by Rapinha. He's the winger from Brazil that plays for Barcelona. He scored twice in the 37th minute and also in the 62nd minute of the game. Not a good game for Kylian Mbappe. He's the star player for PSG, and he failed to impress in the game. And there's also another game that was played. It was Atletico Madrid. They won at home. They beat Borussia Dortmund in that game by 2-1. And the both second leg games of these games I just talked about will be played next week, Tuesday, the 16th. And to close off today's international sports news, it is golf news from the Masters, the first major on the men's calendar that will start on Thursday. And the news from the organizers is that there's a possible weather delay in round 1. And it is because there's expected thunderstorms and also heavy rain and gusts of up to 70 kilometers an hour. The scheduled start for the tournament will be 8 a.m. That is local time at Augusta, and that will be 2 p.m. in Namibian time. And that is when Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and also Tom Watson, they are the honorary opening of just tee shots they hit off the first tee. During the 2023 tournament last year, in the second round, there were also disruptions, and it was also thunderstorm and strong winds then, and the organizers are quite concerned about the safety of the players and also the spectators. There will be 3 South Africans playing in the tournament. It's Charles Schwartzel that's playing in the tournament because he is a previous winner. Then also Eric van Rooyen because he's in the top 50 on the world rankings. And the top leading amateur last year in the world, Christo Lamprecht, he's from South Africa, and he will play in the same 3-ball as Charles Schwartzel. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we'll talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Let's have a look at the highlights on Africa Good Morning. Moderna puts Kenya plant plans on hold. Dispute in Renamo, Mozambique, Venâncio Mondlane returns to court. And the UK decides to loan Ghana its stolen artifacts.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for joining Africa Good Morning all week. From me, Glenn Rashipura.
And me, Ashwin Berry. Swera Jakanaka.